Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and this is day 17 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body course. Today's protein source is going to be sardines, and today is a chest training day. And right now, I'm going to be taking you through the full stretching routine that you're going to perform after you finish training chest. Now let's get started. And this brings us to the stretching routine. For the stretching routine, I've got 3 stretches for you guys. We're going to be doing one for the pectoralis major, one for the anterior deltoid, and one for the triceps brachii. With regard to the first stretch is going to be for the pectoralis major, and this is going to be a PNF stretching exercise for the pectoralis major. It's going to be a bilateral stretch, meaning we're going to be stretching both pecs at the same time. And as usual, when I do my PNF, you guys know I love using my strength band, so that's what I'm going to be using. If you don't have strength bands, you could use something like either a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could even just find something to anchor onto like the frame of a door and then just use that for your PNF. But for me, I'm going to be using these strength bands. The way that we are going to be performing this one is you want to take the strength band, and in each arm, you want to place it right at the crook of the elbow. And then for this one, the way that it is going to work is you want to grasp your hands. You're going to clasp them behind your head, and then you want to get a nice stretch in the pecs. So you're just going to go ahead, lean forward. Once you find a nice stretch, what you're going to do is you are going to do a pec fly to contract the pecs. So you're going to squeeze your elbows together for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, you're going to exhale, relax, and get deeper into the stretch. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, we're going to contract again. So we're going to contract by squeezing the elbows together. We're going to do a nice pec fly, and we're going to hold that for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, we're going to exhale and relax and sink deep into it. And we're going to do that one more time. Once 10 seconds has passed, we are going to contract for 6 seconds. So do a pec fly, exhale, and sink deeper into it. And on this final pass, we are going to hold the position for 20 seconds. And we probably got about 5 seconds left. Okay, let's come out of the stretch right now. And that is the stretching exercise for the pectoralis major. Next, for the second stretching exercise, we are going to perform a PNF stretching exercise for the anterior deltoid. So for the anterior deltoid, again, it is responsible for flexion, medial rotation, and abduction. So we want to go into extension, lateral rotation, and adduction by bringing the arms toward the inside. For this one right over here, the way that we would do it with the strength bands is slightly opposite of how we did the last one. What we would want to do is, instead of having the hands overhead, we're going to still place it in the crook of the elbows. But now what we're going to do is we are going to come at it with our arms down by your sides. So we want to start in this, we're going to start by pressing the manubrium up toward the sky, so the breastbone, really open up the chest. We want to go and start in as much lateral rotation as possible, and we're just going to lean forward. From this position right over here, what we want to do is we are going to go into flexion, medial rotation, and adduction. So we're going to bring the arms forward, turn in, and we want to press into our thighs. By pressing into our thighs, we're going to induce that adduction. Hold that for 6 seconds, then exhale and relax, and just really focus on getting as much lateral rotation as possible. You'll also feel this in the pecs as well, because there is a lot of overlap with regard to the actions of the anterior deltoid and the pec. Both the pec and the anterior deltoid are responsible for flexion and medial rotation. But anyway, we're going to contract, so squeeze in. We're going into medial rotation, pushing in to get that adduction and flexion by bringing the arms forward, and exhale, relax. Really open up. So squeeze those shoulder blades together and depress the scapula to get as much stretch in the anterior compartment of the shoulder. Once 10 seconds has passed, we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to inhale, push. So we've got the arms forward, pushing into the hips to induce the adduction, get those elbows forward to get the flexion, and exhale, relax. And on this last one, get a really nice stretch. So really lean forward as much as you can. And we are going to hold this for 20 seconds on this final pass. Oh, this feels really, really good after training chest. And now that's about 20 seconds, so we could come out of it right now. And that was the PNF stretching exercise for the anterior deltoid. The third and final stretch is going to be a myofascial stretching exercise for the triceps brachii, and specifically, we're going to be targeting the long head of the triceps brachii. The long head, if you recall, when we do the myofascial stretching, hand is in a neutral position. So our arm is up overhead and it's neutral. We're not going into supination. We're not going into pronation. And if you recall, the long head of the triceps brachii has two actions. It is responsible for shoulder extension because it crosses the shoulder posteriorly, and it is responsible for elbow extension. So we want to reverse that. We want to go into maximum shoulder flexion and maximum elbow flexion. We're going to take the arm, we're going to place it up overhead. We want to bring the arm back to get into as much flexion, and we want as much flexion of the elbow. And with the elbow, we want to project the elbow up toward the sky as much as possible. So imagine that somebody has a string attached to your elbow and they are pulling you up. Also, we want to create as much myofascial tension along the posterior chain of the back. If we can create more myofascial tension in the lumbar spine and thoracic, it's going to transfer into the posterior aspect of the shoulder, which is going to help with getting a nice deep stretch in the long head of the triceps brachii group. So the way that we would do that is we are going to get into a kneeling position, and then we're going to sit down. We want to tuck the pelvis underneath us. That's going to put the thoracolumbar fascia under tension, which is going to transfer into getting more tension into the lats, which is going to transfer into tension in the posterior aspect of the shoulder. Then from this position right over here, the way that we would do it is hand up and over. You're going to pull the arm across, push it back, push the elbow up toward the sky. And then what we could do to get even more of a stretch is we could do lateral flexion of the cervical spine by bending away, contralateral flexion, and then ipsilateral rotation by looking toward the side that we are stretching. But we've got 30 seconds starting right now. So really focus on maintaining that retroversion of the pelvis. Also, keep your chin tucked in, crown of the head up. And to get a little extra tension, look down with your eyes to put the dura mater under tension. So you're pushing the elbow back, you're pushing it across, and you are actively pushing the elbow up to the sky while trying to get maximum flexion in the elbow. So try and get your hand to touch your same side posterior deltoid. We're going to come out of it. We're going to do that again on the other side. 30 seconds starting now. So pull across, bring it back. To get a little bit more tension, you could do contralateral flexion of the cervical spine with ipsilateral rotation. You're looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension. Push that elbow up to the sky. Again, you're maintaining retroversion of the pelvis, so you're tucking your pelvis underneath you. That's going to put the thoracolumbar fascia and the latissimus dorsi under more tension, which is going to enhance the effects of the stretch. Now we're going to come out of it. Set number 2 starting now. So really try and touch the same side posterior deltoid with the hand of the side that you're stretching. And try and get that arm behind the midline. So you want your bicep minimum in line with your ear if you can do that. And if you could get it past behind the line of your ear, that's going to be even better. And now we are going to do the other side, 30 seconds starting now. So really try to push that elbow back. You want to get maximum flexion. After this, we have one left on each side, and then we are all done for day 17. Now we're going to switch. 30 seconds starting now. Really try and push that elbow up. Try and get it as close to the sky as you possibly can. This should not feel easy. If it feels easy, you're probably not doing it right. And if you are doing it right and it feels easy, then you probably just don't need this stretch. Last one, 30 seconds starting now. Oh, I'm sweating more doing these stretches than I am when I get the workout. It should feel like a 1 rep max when you're doing this. Everything, you're pushing as hard as you can to counteract the actions that the muscle does. So you're actively flexing as hard as you can. You're actively flexing the elbow as hard as you can. And come out of it. And that was the PNF stretching exercise for the long head of the triceps brachii. And that concludes day 17 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body coaching course. If you enjoyed it, let me know what your favorite exercise was, what your favorite stretch was. But otherwise, I will see you again tomorrow. That was just a tiny taste of what can be found in my members only section. If you enjoyed it, become a member for only $5 a month to get access to hundreds of member only videos.